In this video, I'm going to show you some of the necessary steps you need to take to check your drive belt on your car. This is just for general things to make sure that the belt is in good condition, that it won't break or be damaged on you, and just if you need to change it, what things to look for. And this is right now on Nexus Auto. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to start the car and just listen for any noise that the belt will make. I'm sure you guys have heard it from other cars, if not from your own. You may start the car and you hear like a high-pitched squeak, wee, wee, wee noise or anything like that. That could be, of course, could be something like a bad pulley, but it also could be a bad or loose drive belt. So you want to check that first here. You can see this one here is right off the alternator. Obviously, don't touch it when it's in motion. That is a very bad idea. Do not do that if it wasn't obvious already. But you want to just listen for any noises, anything like that. For the unseasoned mechanic, if you're a novice or anything, you may not, sometimes if it's a pulley noise versus the belt, it may be hard to confuse the two, but this will give you a good starting point. If you're hearing some noise come from here, that high-pitched squeal and anything like that, check your belt first and see if it's loose or anything like that. See if it moves around, if it's shaking, if it's vibrating. It should be nice and firm. Like how you see here, you see there's no vibration in it or anything, it's just moving along. So that's kind of what you're looking for. You don't want it to be shaking or vibrating. So the next few things are pretty easy, but they're also pretty obvious, and they're things that will really help you determine the condition of your belt. So the first thing you want to do is check the actual condition, obviously with the car off. You just want to take a look at the belt. It'd be nice if the car was cool as well, because you may be working around, touching things. You don't want, engine block to be hot. But you want to check the belt, the condition, see if there's any cracks, see if there's, these are called ribs, these little ridges here. So you want to make sure there's no chunks missing out of it and everything like that. You want to check and make sure there's no cracks. It may start cracking and breaking along. So you want to check all that. Sometimes a belt, if it's really old, may split. So you want to check and make sure there's no splits in the belt, things like that. So you just want to check the condition of the belt first. Make sure everything is good. It looks sturdy. No splits, no cracks, no missing ribs, nothing like that. Next, check along the edges of the belt, along the inside and outside edges. You want to check for what's called fraying. And what fraying is when you'll see it looks like it's been starting to get chewed up along the edge. This one here, kind of, not really much. This is normal, but you see how it has these little pieces of the rubber sticking out there? If it's really bad, where it looks like it's really chunks missing out of it, you want to check for that, because this indicates a couple things. Either one, the belt's become really worn and loose, and it's as you're driving, it's wobbling around and it's hitting the pulleys and stuff. Or two, you may have a bad pulley, and the pulley itself could be wobbling, and when it's wobbling, it's chewing away the belt. So that's kind of a good indication that something is not right. This should be lined up pretty well on here. Next, check the condition of the rubber itself, both inside and out, but this part we're talking about on the outside here particularly, and you want to see if it's glazed over. Now see, this is still rubbery. It's still got that rubber feel to it and everything like that. You run your hand, it's very textured. You want to make sure that's the case. Same within here. You want to make sure these ribs still have grooves in them, and you can put your finger in, because if either of those becomes smoothed out, then you can start getting noise as it runs along the pulleys, or if you're not getting the noise or anything like that, actually you can slip, and you don't want one day you're driving off and it finally gives out. And see how this, for example, here on this the tensioner over here, it swings around on this side. There's no grooves or anything like that. So eventually, if it gets too smooth, it may just, especially if you have a worn tensioner or anything like that, it can just slip right off, and then you're stuck. So you want to make sure that this has still got a good texture to it, both inside and out. Next, check if it's greasy or contaminated with any type of fluids or anything like that. So, for example, on the Grand Prix, right below down there, you have the water pump and everything here too. And you also have these elbows that are over there, and they start leaking. Coolant go on this. Even if it's just momentarily, any type of fluids that come out of the engine of a car, whether it be your coolant, engine oil, transmission fluid, or whatever, those do tend to eat away at rubber and everything like that. So you may clean it up, but it may start doing damage to the rubber. So, use your best judgment. But if it's been contaminated or anything like that, let's say you had a leaking water pump and it's leaked all over, you may want to consider replacing the belt as well. Clean it up, obviously, but try and consider that. Next, you want to check for looseness in the belt. So with the belt itself, I mean, it will have some flex, but we don't want too much. Generally, about a 1/2 inch. So what you could do is you could take a ruler, put it here, and then push down. It should not move more than a 1/2 inch. If it has more than a 1/2 inch of play, that may be too much, and maybe time to consider a new belt, even if everything else checks out. So if you check, there's no cracks, the belt's not smoothed over, it's not greasy, not contaminated. But if you've got a 1/2 inch or more of play in the belt after measuring with a measuring tape or anything, you still want to consider getting a new one. And last but not least, as you'll be working in here, it's a good time to check the pulleys. Now some cars is really tight and you can't get in there, but if you can get your hand in, grab on a pulley, for example, grab the alternator one here, and just move it, make sure there's no play. Try and get your hand in, try and move some of them around, make sure there's no movement in them or anything like that. As you'll be working here, it's a good time to do that. Some of them, for example, the one down there, you won't be able to do, they're just too heavy duty, but some of them you can, so it doesn't hurt to check them out. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope this video has helped you out here today. Now let's go through some of the YouTube stuff, shall we? Don't forget to like and subscribe if this video has helped you out. And if you want to see my future videos, I try and put out one at least once a week. Make sure to hit notifications as well, just so you can get those videos. On the flip side to that, if you didn't like the video for whatever reason and you do dislike it, not a problem. Feel free to leave it in the comments of why you disliked it, whether it be something I did wrong, whether it's something you didn't like in the video. By all means, just let me know so I can keep making the best content possible. It's kind of the whole point of it, so make sure to do that. Speaking of the comments, if you have any questions, concerns, anything you want to add on, anything you see you can do better, anything that maybe you add on and it actually is worse, whatever it is, feel free to leave it in the comments. Nothing wrong with that. I always try and answer whenever I can. It may not be the same day, next day, whatever, but I try and answer all comments, so make sure to leave that as well. Once again, I want to thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.